This is a story about Franky and his irritable bowel by the Walkaboutman. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to my workshop. Yes, that workshop. But I've got a lovely story for you today, and it's called Franky and his Irritable Bowel. Are you ready to hear it? Then let us begin. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a man who lived alone in his house. All alone in his house. And his name was Franky. Now, Franky, he had an irritable bowel. Do you know what that is, boys and girls? No? Irritable bowel is something that, well, you might actually find that out as the story goes on. Okay, so here we go. Well, Franky woke up one morning, feeling very refreshed and alive, and says, I can't wait to go to work today. Not school, work. Because he's a man, he's not a little boy. And, yes, well, the man, he hopped up there, stretched, and he said to himself, I'm going to have a great big bowl of cornflakes, because I'm hungry. I'm really hungry. So he poured in his cornflakes, and he poured in a great big pile of milk. He filled the milk right up to the top. Very important part of the story, boys and girls. Filled the milk right up to the top there, and he scoffed it down in a hurry. He goes, oh my goodness, I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. Like a very important date like the rabbit, you know. And he quickly put his gear together, he grabbed his briefcase, and he charged out the door, and he's driving his car. And as he's driving his car, he's going through the traffic, and he's driving along very carefully, and all of a sudden, he feels a little something inside his belly. First there was a grumble, then a rumble, then a twisting, then a turning, inside burning, tummy churning, groaning, burning, yearning. He had to go to the toilet now. It was, and not tomorrow, not now. He clenched his backside together, hoping to God that he didn't have an accident on the way there, both in the car and on his seat. He flew into the car park. He parked very carefully, I might add, between the lines, very nicely, closed the door, making sure he didn't hit the car next to him, hopped out of the car, and he walked very quickly with his knees together, legs slightly out, so he was walking kind of like this. And he walked in the door, and they go, hello, Franky, said the receptionist. G'day, he said. Hey, Mary. Hey, Julie. Hi, Bill. Yes, hi, Bill. Now, Franky was normally a nice, very quiet, relaxed gentleman, but with his irritable bowel, it made him try to move very quite quickly. He might have seemed a bit pushy, but he wasn't actually, because he really needed to go to the toilet badly, or else things were going just to explode. He had to do something very quickly. As he was walking past, his friend caught him. He goes, oh, no, his boss caught him. It was his boss, well, which is also his friend, but that's beside the point. Actually stopped him and said, Franky, I'd like to talk to you. Franky stood still. Yes? Trying not to look so obvious. Yes, Franky, I've been a bit concerned about your absentees lately. The stomach churned again inside Franky. Yes, boss. I'm listening. Well, Franky, I think I'm really concerned about your... what's the word? The stomach twisted and turned inside Franky, causing his head to fly forward. His boss continued. Franky, I need to talk to you because I'm afraid that... How do I say this nicely? Franky's stomach was turning inside out. His knees were together. His backside was buckled and twisted as close as it could get. I need to talk to you about your toilet breaks. Now, your toilet breaks are becoming like lunchtime breaks. Perhaps you could forego your lunch break for your toilet break. Franky was full of urgency. He said, boss, I completely understand. I completely agree. I'm going to be with it. I have to go right now. But wait, said the boss. But it's too late. Franky was already off down the corridor, heading as quick as he could waddle down very carefully into the toilet cubicle. He went flying through the door. He pushed the door open. And unfortunately, there was a man behind the door about to go out, but he was pinned behind the door. and he couldn't move until Franky let the door go, and then he could actually walk straight back out again, which is really incredible. The man walked out wondering what the heck had hit him, and he staggered into the hallway and wandered down the street. Down the corridor, actually, not the street, because he's inside a building. Anyway, Franky burst into the toilet, and he found a cubicle. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And he found a toilet. Yes! He tried the first one, but the door was locked. He looked underneath the door, but there was nobody there. Someone had locked it from the inside, climbed through, and then went back out again. Why would you do that? I don't know, but people do that. Anyway, so then, what he did was, he went to the next cubicle, which he had to do. He tried to quickly get his pants, and he almost ripped it off like a Hulk, because he had to go now. His stomach was buckling. It was groaning, churning, turning, burning. He was in trouble, boys and girls. He was in big trouble. And he looked at the toilet, and he had to look at it, and there was poo everywhere. Poo everywhere, and he hadn't even started yet. Some dirty person had actually pooed all over the seat. Now, how do you poo all over a seat? By not wiping your bottom properly, boys and girls. If only this person had wiped the bottom properly. But Franky didn't have time. He had to go now. He couldn't find another cubicle. He couldn't wander around. He couldn't go downstairs where the other toilets were because he had no time. He had to go now. He lifted the lid up and he had to hover over the bowl. And he waited. And as he got his strides down around his ankles, his backside exploded. It sounded like 4th of July. You know, those rockets bursting everywhere, and he's oh. And finally, the urgency was over. He reached across to grab the toilet paper and realized there was nothing there. The roll was empty. Some person had forgotten to fill the toilet. They used the last bit of toilet paper and never said anything to anybody, and actually went out there and left the toilet cubicle empty, which is why Franky thought to himself, this is why I should always check it. But he didn't have time. He had to go now, and now is the best time as ever. That's exactly what he had to do. He went, and that's what he had to do, and he had no toilet paper. What the hell do I do now, he says. Oh, he didn't say hell because it's the boys and girls thing. What do I do now? Luckily, a man walked along. They come in there and decided he'd be using another part of the toilet there, which is called a urinal. Can you say urinal, boys and girls? A urinal. That's right. That's where people stand up and pee into a little special bowl, which is only for pee, nothing else. And as you stand there peeing, the man heard Franky from inside the cubicle go, "Excuse me, sir. Could you help me, please, sir?" The man standing there wondering what's going on. "Yes," he called out. "How can I help you?" Yes. Could you pass me a couple of pieces of the paper hand towels, if you could, please?" "Certainly," said the man. "I'll just finish up here." Zip. And away he went, got some paper towels, and he says, "You want over the top or under the bottom?" And on the door, and he goes, "Oh, under the bottom, please, if you'd be so kind." He passed him a small handful underneath the door, and the man said, Franky said, "Oh, thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate that." "No problem," said the man, and away he went. Well, Franky made sure he wiped it. He didn't leave a messy seat at all behind. Not at all. He hopped up, did up his tacks, and he hopped outside the toilet door. As he walked out into the corridor, after he washed his hands, boys and girls, with soap, and he scrubbed them very well. After that, he walked down the corridor, and his boss saw him and says, "Are you ready to begin work now, Franky?" Franky said, "Yes, boss, I am ready. And I'm all yours, and I can hear everything that you say." And from that day on, boys and girls, did you know Franky learnt that he was also lactose intolerant? And he learned to stop having coffee during the day, and also cut down his milk intake, and which him and his bowel and his irritable bowel became very good friends indeed. Now, and they lived happily ever after. Well, almost ever after, because sometimes Franky forget, have a milkshake on the way home, and had to quickly dash inside when he got there, because inside he felt a grumble, then a rumble, then a twisting, then a turning, and inside burning, turning, churning, grinding, twisting, and he swore he'd never ever drink milk again, but he did. And that's just the way how the cookie crumbles. Hope you enjoyed the story, boys and girls. I know I did. Thank you very much, and goodbye from my workshop. Goodbye.